Yo, what is going on YouTube? I am Germ here. So, today, first off, happy Easter, if, it is Easter where you're at, and, if you celebrate Easter. If you don't, okay, I'm sorry, never mind. But, what I do know is that yesterday we saw a crazy upset over in the LEC, obviously, with G2 falling to Mad Lions 3-1, in the winners bracket finals. Mad Lions are going on to what I believe is their first ever LEC finals, which is crazy. There was a lot of just very surprising things in that series. What is most surprising to me probably is just overall the level of Carzzy, who was really not that good in the regular season. He has been absolutely popping off in the playoffs. Mad Lion as a team is on a whole different level. When they beat Rogue, people just said Rogue kind of played bad or shaky or whatever. Now they're beating G2, and people still don't know what to say. So in this video today, we're going to be watching the Caps recaps without Caps. It's with your boy Pinoy. He's going to be talking to Jankos. We're going to be just kind of going over what Jankos is thinking right now. I mean, if you're G2, obviously they've been here before. They've lost in the winners bracket before. They've gone to the losers bracket. They've had to make it out. They still usually end up winning finals. But is this time different? Is Mad Lions the best team in the LEC right now? Is G2 just not playing up to their strengths? I don't know. So I know a lot of people are going to be curious to be hearing what some of the G2 players are saying, how they're feeling, and just finding out whether G2 is going to be able to do this losers bracket run to a championship and go to MSI, because MSI without G2, who are currently the defending MSI champions, would be a little bit strange. But before we get into that, I just want to mention real quick, if you guys have not already, please take a second and smash the like button. Really helps out the YouTube algorithm. That would be awesome. Also subscribe to stay up to date on all my latest content so you guys don't miss out on anything we got going on in the future. With that being said, let's get right into this. Pinoy, take it away, my man.
Yo, it's your boy Pino here with Caps Recaps with Jankos. Unfortunately, we lost the series 1-3 to Mad Lions. Tell me a little bit more about the series.
Well, I think that the series was very exciting, and we almost went down 0-3. But the good thing is that we actually went down 1-3, because now we kind of know what to improve on. And I think that I think the game 2 draft was a little bit troll, but I think all the other games were very winnable. So we played like shit, but also it's good because now we have the loser bracket power spike, and I feel like normally we play slightly better if there's no other chances left. And also last year, ever since they introduced this system where you have a loser bracket, we always went to loser brackets. So it is our comfort zone, and playing Schalke, Rogue next week, and then Mad Lions, hopefully, if we make it there, I think it's going to be good. And I also think it's good for our team that we got punished today and that we got destroyed because, we at least have some things that we can work on. And I also feel like when you lose like that, sure, you can fix mistakes even if we are winning, but when you lose, you get more exposed harder. So there's clear things you can improve on. But when you win, and even if it's close, like against Schalke, it's less things to improve on, because sure, you still won, and yeah, you don't. It's not like you don't care as much. You just don't. They didn't exploit you as hard, so you think maybe it's not that bad, but it's actually pretty bad.
So yeah, obviously, he did a lot of talking there. He's also talking really fast, which is I don't know if he was nervous or feeling it or whatever, but I feel like it's not the typical, Jankos talking kind of, but whatever. I mean, a couple things to talk about there. Obviously, him talking about them losing 1-3, and talking about the drafts and stuff a little bit. There was some talk of in the first 2 games, are these drafts just troll? What is G2 doing? Are they actually playing good stuff? Are they playing bad stuff? Jankos believes that their game 2 draft was a little bit troll. That was when they went with the Trundle in the jungle, and I agree to an extent. Maybe some of the picks were a little bit suboptimal or whatever, but I do believe that they've had some success with something like that, whether it was in scrims or in practice or whatever. And I also believe that those comps can work, especially the game 1 draft. I believe that, especially for G2, I think the Karma 80 carry can work. Maybe it's not what you want. Maybe it's not the most ideal pick when Reckless is your bot laner. Maybe it works better with a different team or whatever, but I don't think that comp in isolation is necessarily terrible. I think it could be really good, especially with Caps playing as well as he is, especially with him being as good as he is on the marksman champions like Tristan and Lucian. I think a comp built around protecting Caps on a marksman like that can be very good. I think it can absolutely work. And yes, I get people are going to blame it some on the draft, and that's fair, but also I think if Wonder would have been playing better, I really felt like Wonder had I don't know if he had a single good game in the series. I know the Silas game was pretty rough. I know he didn't really do anything on like his Akali game. They were putting him on a lot of carries and he wasn't popping off very often. And in some of those games, if they had a strong secondary carry, two caps where they actually had two threats and stuff to worry about, I think those comps could have worked out just fine. I think the scaling was insane. I think the shielding from Karma was crazy. I think they had good engage. Like, I think the comps weren't necessarily bad. They were different. So when you lose playing something different, yes, it's going to give some people something to flame about. It's going to give people something to, troll about, whatever. And I get it, but I think that's really kind of shallow analysis. I think that's really surface level analysis. Game 2, maybe you have a little bit more to talk about because obviously, Trundle maybe isn't the best pick right now, and maybe he doesn't exactly fit in that well. Obviously, their plan was to pick Trundle into some tanks and think it would work out okay. And again, just because they lost doesn't necessarily mean that the comp is terrible, doesn't necessarily mean the comp is bad, because obviously for some reason they thought this stuff was good. At some point they've had some kind of success with this. But then obviously game 3 they got back to what you'd call normal drafts and they won, and then people thought they were back. But then in game 4, still losing with some normal drafts. So you can blame some of it on draft, but they even in the normal drafted games, or normal or more conventional drafted games, they still went 1-1, and Mad Lions still looked really good and really dominant over them. So thought that was a little weird, but then also him talking about, the old meme, like loses improve, talking about how they can now improve a lot from this. Hopefully they can learn from this. He said even against Schalke, where Schalke tested them, Schalke pushed them to their limits. They took them to game 5. They still thought, our mistakes aren't that bad. We still won. We can just say we trolled games 3 and 4, and, we stomped in games 1 and 2. Game 5 wasn't that close. So, we know we need to improve a little bit. Maybe it's a little bit of a wake-up call, but if we're still winning, then, who really cares that much? And I totally get that, just like from the competitive mindset or whatever. But now that they've lost, now that is the big wake-up call. And now they know, hey, now this week we've got to improve on stuff. We have to. Like, we are now at risk of being knocked out, of not only not winning an LEC title, not being the best team in Europe, but also not going to MSI and not getting the experience, the practice against all the international teams. Like, we want to go to Worlds. We want to win Worlds. We need to be practicing, scrimming, gaining the knowledge, gaining the international experience of the best teams in the world. And if we keep doing the mistakes we're doing, we're not going to get to do those things. And that should be a big, big wake-up call. And he talks about how G2's always done really, really well in the lower bracket. And I think it is because this is a team that does amazingly under pressure. This is a team that does amazingly with their backs up against the wall. That's what the history of G2 would tell you, at least. That doesn't mean it's going to happen again this year. That doesn't mean that, they're automatically going to roll over Rogue. They're going to automatically roll over Schalke. Because, they could be setting up for a rematch with Schalke, who just took them to Game 5. And Schalke's got a ton of confidence. They just rolled over Fnatic. If they beat Rogue today as well, then Schalke's going to be feeling really, really good going into that series with G2. G2 is going to be practicing. They're going to be ready to go. And I think it'll be interesting to see, what do they do? Do they keep going with these strange drafts that they think are good? And maybe we'll find out that they are good. Maybe we'll continue to find out that they're bad. Do they go back to conventional stuff that maybe they don't believe in as much and maybe doesn't give them as many as the conventional G2 flex picks and stuff? Are they just going to play a lot better the rest of the playoffs? Are they going to play a lot worse? And maybe are we going to see a new LEC champion and a different European representative at MSI, which kind of during the offseason and even during most of the season really never even crossed a lot of people's minds. It never even seemed possible and would really be pretty crazy. So, I don't know. There's definitely a lot going on here. So many storylines. LEC was already super, super interesting. Viewership was already crazy. So many people were already so invested. And now that's like times 10 already. I mean, it's going to be crazy no matter what happens.
Yeah, so tomorrow we see Schalke versus Rogue, and of course we're going to face the winner of that. Who do you think will take it?
I mean, I personally think that, like, as much as there's a fake at that Dagger, Broken Blade, and Limitless, and God Julius, I feel like it's probably gonna be Rogue. I feel like they kind of trolled as well against Mad Lions last week, and I can't believe that we lost to Mad Lions this week. So I really feel like we should win next week, and Rogue should probably win against Schalke. And I think we'll face Rogue in the next game.
So, like he said, how Rogue trolled against Mad Lions and then they lost to Mad Lions. Like, at some point, are these two teams trolling against Mad Lions, or is Mad Lions just looking really good? I would believe a little bit of both, because I don't know if Mad Lions is necessarily just better than Rogue and G2 at this point, because also G2 didn't look great against Schalke. Rogue, obviously, we haven't seen their second series yet, so we'll see how Rogue looks against Schalke. It's possible that Mad Lions ran into two teams playing not their best 2 weeks in a row. Like, it's only 2 teams. That's definitely impossible. It seems a little bit unlikely that both Rogue and G2 just happen to troll against the same team and the same team just absolutely smash them. But we'll see, because Rogue, they're going to get another second shot at this. G2, they're going to get a second shot at this. So we'll see what's up. We'll see how these teams are able to develop over the course of this playoffs and everything. See how it goes. And then one of these teams, obviously, maybe Schalke, but maybe Rogue or G2 going to get that rematch with Mad Lions. And then we'll really be able to see, were they just trolling, or are Mad Lions really good, or maybe Mad Lions gets exposed and maybe they weren't so good after all. Because again, the Mad Lions we saw during the regular season was inconsistent. They were solid, they were good, they weren't great, they definitely didn't look like LEC champions. I mean, so we'll have to see there. It'll be interesting, but yeah, Jankos thinks Rogue is going to beat Schalke. That would, I think, be way better for G2. Obviously, I think I would heavily favor G2 against Rogue or Schalke, but I mean, we've seen in the past and this season that G2 matches up really, really well with Rogue, and Rogue, when G2 is playing their best, Rogue has little to no answers for G2, as to where Schalke beat G2 during the regular season, is a little bit more of a crazy chaotic team that can maybe surprise G2. Again, I would still heavily favor G2 against Schalke, but they just played a series that went to 5 games. So G2 knows they can beat Schalke. I'm sure they would not be afraid or scared of Schalke, but I'm sure they would rather see Rogue at this point, which might be a little surprising because Rogue is a better team, but G2 has just always rolled over Rogue in the games that they've played.
And we also saw a Trundle pick in game 2. Can you tell me a little bit more about the champ? It's not a champ we have seen a lot this year, so what's the reasoning behind it?
Yeah, we just basically wanted to make the game too short, so we just picked Trundle and lost the game fast. No, I think the Trundle, yeah, we just thought it's like gonna be good, but it was actually pretty garbage. And I think same for like us, like forcing that Karma bot lane, I guess we would be pretty depressed if Rekkles would play like 3 games of support, so we didn't do it in the 3rd game, and we actually let him play the carry and the 4th game as well, so we actually won a game. But yeah, we just tried things that we believed are good and they were not, or we misplayed, and it's kind of both, right? Like, I think the things we have played were like suboptimal, but I also think that like we kind of played bad, so it's a bit of both. And I think for next week, again, we have to focus on our play, but also change our priorities a little bit, and I think it's gonna be good.
And yeah, that's what I was talking about a little bit too. It's like, yeah, maybe the picks weren't perfect, maybe the picks weren't great, but also if you don't play the picks well, if you don't play the compositions out well, if your team overall just isn't playing that great right now, which again, we saw in the Schalke series a little bit, we're seeing in this Mad Lions series too, you don't know, is it the comp, is it the picks, is it the players? Because, yeah, did they look a lot better in Game 3? Yeah, sure, but then they looked not so good again in Game 4. So, I don't think it's fair to just blame the drafts. I don't think it's fair to just blame the players, but in the end, I do think the players need to wildly step up, because I think the comp, especially the comp in Game 1, was winnable in a G2 versus Mad Lions game. It wasn't, such a terrible comp that it was, totally unwinnable. So I don't know. I think that's kind of a weak excuse, and I think they should definitely be able to get it done. But again, they didn't. Jankos says they picked things that they thought were good. They did believe that those picks were good. Reddit analysts, Twitter, whatever will tell you how terrible they were, but whatever, they thought they were good, they've had some success with them, and they didn't play well, and maybe they were wrong. It's possible. People have been wrong before. Players, teams, analysts, coaches, anyone has been wrong before. There's teams who have misread the meta, but we like seeing spicy new picks, and when you pull out something new and it works, everyone is going crazy, and they're not telling you how it sucks or it's bad or whatever. So I don't know. It's a fine line you walk on when you pick something new, when you pick something different, for sure.
Now the last question, is there anything, like, should the fans be worried, or like, what do you have to say to them to looking forward to next week in our hopefully 2 series against Rogue or Schalke, and then Mad Lions in the final if we get there? What do you have to say to the fans?
I mean, I think that hopefully, if Carlos is watching, he will not sell anyone after this BO5. We can still make it, it's no problem, And then for the fans, I believe that we can still be the champions of Europe. You already know us. You know that we kind of like to troll. It's not like I'm giving you a promise we will, because of course it's not that easy. It's not like, oh, we lost, so now we're not gonna win. It's not how it works. We wanted to win and we tried to win, and we were just not good enough compared to an enemy team. But I think we will do well, and I think we'll probably win, end up winning at least next week twice. So we should be the champions, I guess, if we win twice. So I'm pretty confident in our ability to play better next week. I'm already so confident I could take on Mad Lions in a BO5 again, because I just felt like we can actually just win straight up. But of course, yeah, there's many things to improve on, and we are kind of boosted, so we'll try to be better. And no empty promises, so you will for sure see a better version of G2 next week. If it's gonna be a version that is worthy of being the champions of Europe. I'm not sure of that, but it's for sure gonna be better.
And I can guarantee you, Jankos doesn't ever do empty promises. He claps me in the ass, and he does it every time. And for that, further ado, we're signing out from Caps Recaps with Jankos. So see you next week. Stay tuned.
So I think that's a good way to end the video. No one can say it quite like Pinoy, I guess, but ending it with that little message Jankos had to the fans, his little ending speech of, just the fact that no empty promises, no excuses. We tried our best, we lost, we weren't good enough. Hopefully we can come back and win. He can't guarantee that they're going to be able to, because obviously they just lost to Mad Lions, and he thinks they can beat them, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. So that's what Jankos is feeling. That's what he's saying. Again, a crazy, crazy upset this weekend. G2 against Mad Lions, where they did fall 3-1 with Mad Lions headed to the finals. G2 headed to the losers bracket. They only need to win one series before they get that rematch with Mad Lions. So, it's not a super tall task ahead of them, but the pressure's on now. We'll see what happens. G2, it's time for them to get serious. It's time for them to go all out, and we're going to get to see the full, true strength of G2 and see if they deserve to be an LEC champion, if they get to go to MSI and defend their title or not. But that is pretty much it for this video today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for watching. Definitely drop a like. It helps me out a ton with the YouTube algorithm. I'd appreciate it a ton. Leave a comment down below. What do you think is going to happen to G2? You think they're going to lose to Rogue, lose to Schalke, lose to Mad Lions, or do you think they're headed to MSI? I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Subscribe to stay up to date on all my latest content. Hopefully catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace.